Welcome to episode 5, and in this episode we're talking about full moon art meditation. It's a practice that I've started a few years back, and it became a part of my monthly rituals where I just tune in and tap in through my art. I am reusing my old drawings from art school. I'd like to pull a card, and this one was so interesting, especially because I'm using the drawing from art school. One of the sentences that stood out was, "You truly can't surrender something until you deeply feel it." And all kinds of feelings were coming up while I was working on it. Since full moons are about letting go, this kind of brought up all the memories of my time in art school, and then kind of the aftermath and going back and rekindling my relationship with my art. The image that I'm using is actually my self-portrait from one of my favorite classes that I've ever taken in that school with Mr. Bridges. He was a fantastic artist, and his classes were so innovative and creative and challenging. I mean, we painted music in his class. I had such a great time in art school, and I was flying really, really high. But after the graduation, I think I was totally unprepared. I was definitely burnt out from the hyper productivity, and honestly I was a little bit naive. So after the graduation, it kind of hit me like a ton of bricks, the reality of life, and especially like the monetary aspect of it. Something that stuck with me years later, reading Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert. She says in that book that you can't pressure your art to make you money, and I needed money, and I was just in this weird space. And then 2008 happened, and that was a recession that things made super complicated even more. My family grew even more. I was going through these weird cycles of depression. It was a strange moment in my life. But then I did begin very slowly rebuilding my relationship with my art. It was a slow process, and a lot of times it felt like one step forward and two steps back. But I've always kept a practice, even a tiny miniature version of it, which, now looking back, I'm proud of that. There was definitely this fight between my heart, just following my free spirit, and the brain and the ego, about the ambition and career and all of that's just swirling in my brain. But what I really appreciate about my art is that it's just been a companion, and it's been such a healer for me throughout the years. I even thought about being an art therapist. That never fruited for me, but the notions of therapy are always included in my art and in the workshops and anything I do creatively. That it's one of the aspects. And also over the years have been connecting spirituality to it as well, and that's why these art meditations came about. Different versions connecting the moon energies and working with natural cycles. My art is definitely growing and expanding with me. There are new territories, and I'm excited for this new journey. I'm definitely very much feeling this pink and this red, which I think it's connecting to like rooting and grounding. And this is an abstract piece that completely came out of just flowing and not judging and going with it, not overthinking it, which sometimes it takes me a while to get into that space. After finishing this painting, it reminded me of Georgia O'Keeffe's skulls that she loved to paint, which is remarkable because right before the full moon, I submitted to be part of the 111 Women in Art History exhibit that local artist is curating, Alicia Campos, and Georgia O'Keeffe was randomly selected for me. which is remarkable. We share the same birthdays. And this brought me to this space of just being so thankful to my art, to be my companion. I wrote a love letter to it on the back of this painting, and I'm ready to listen with my heart. And I think that's what all this pink is about. So thank you so much for being here and joining me, and I will see you next time.